Teenagers of Reddit, what are the hardest things to explain to adults that you can tell a child and will understand? When we say don't tell anyone, we mean don't tell anyone. I told my mom about a girl I absolutely hated. Then later that night, she FaceTimes me and says guess what, I work with her aunt, and flips the camera to her and starts talking about how she told her that I hated her niece. We aren't trying to act moody when we fight back. We want to learn to stand up for ourselves when you guys don't listen, even when we have valid arguments. Some of you guys think that you are always correct since you are the adult. By arguing, we are asking for some respect from you, not trying to take any respect away from you. When I talk too much, I'm disrespectful. When I don't talk at all, I'm standoffish. I have no other resort than to withdraw in my room. Then you get in trouble for being in your room too much because you need to spend time with family. There's no winning. Just because I have my own personal life and secrets doesn't automatically mean I'm doing something bad, illegal, or straight up dangerous. I'm allowed to have secrets. That sometimes I just don't want to be with other people. A kid would just say okay, and it would make sense to them. But adults can't seem to understand that I want to be by myself sometimes. Isolated. Almost not a teenager anymore. But I found hanging out online on Discord, or a couple years ago, on Skype, is just so surreal to adults. Especially people age 50 and older. Bonus for the fact that they insist you can't have a meaningful conversation there, whatever that means. I don't lock the door because I'm doing drugs. It's because I'm naked and you have no boundaries. That I'm doing the best I can, and that I'm still learning how to be an adult, and sometimes I still need help. I get that I'm an adult now, but it helps if adults show me how to do that. You can't just walk up to someone and ask if you can hang out with them without it being weird. This reminds me of my high school cafeteria that was also a student lounge throughout the day. I so hated walking in there and figuring out where I could go sit without being awkward. Or if I just had to sit by myself like a weirdo, pre-cell phone, so I couldn't just look at my phone. Or I'd go sit near someone I sort of knew and say what's up. 15 awkward seconds later they get up and go somewhere else. That shit sucked. I barely ever said a word to anyone in high school except my few close friends. I really envied people who could just confidently word vomit all day from group to group. Just because someone is going through something worse doesn't mean you're nice and bad either. We were watching Jojo Rabbit, a movie set in World War II, and she said it makes sense for those people to have depression. But why do you? Or whenever I complained about my dad's gambling problem, or if he yells at me, or my mom, she always says at least he doesn't beat you. You don't have to be nice to people that are mean to you. Yes, even if they're family. My grandmother still doesn't get why I don't talk to my parents anymore. I'm 23 and married. Having friends online that you actually care about edit. Yeah, there are exceptions, I know. They're probably just a 50-year-old man manipulating you. Sweetie, oh, I have a story here. So I had a girlfriend online at one point. My mom ran a background check on her. Turned out everything she had told me was completely truthful. Not a single thing was out of line with what she said. Plus, couple years later, I really needed to get a start somewhere near, and someone I had known for about a decade online told me he had a close friend who needed a roommate. You can imagine my mother's protests about that one. This guy's friend, so not my friend. Someone I trusted himself trusted, offered to fly over to where I was living at the time. I paid for the plane ticket, of course, and drive me and my car down to him. I had a vehicle but no license. You see, we stopped in his hometown, met his parents, stayed the night in the middle of the drive. In the morning he wanted to get up early to go to the bakery, and I felt like sleeping in. So I let him take my car without me to go do it. And you know what happened? He came back, picked me up, and now we've been roommates for 2 years. The guy often repairs my car, and he even built me a new desktop for quite cheap. Yes, I know. Anecdotal evidence and all. But word to the wise. People lie on the internet all the time. But most people can't be fake for an entire decade. I've always said that if this had really been a 10-year plus plan to kidnap and murder me. Shit, dude. He really earned it. Who am I to take it away from him? How to use a phone/tablet. Not sure how a 4-year-old can become an iPhone within under 30 minutes, but showing a family member how to send a photo will take hours because you have to keep showing them because they don't bother to remember. It's just that we aren't totally clueless and a lot of adults treat us that way, and it is so frustrating. Again, I see your point, but I also think it's double-sided. Some teenagers are just bad. But some of us are trying our hardest and adults don't see it and think we are just slacking. It's a complicated thing for sure. My OCD. I live in 2 households and my mom takes care of my medical stuff. So when I was diagnosed, my dad didn't know. I waited to tell him. And when I finally did, he was confused and couldn't understand why I was thinking such horrible things and told me to just stop thinking them. His wife said the same thing. Like, yeah, thanks, I'll get right on that. However, when I had to explain to my stepsisters why I couldn't stop turning the lights on and off, the youngest, 12, said something like, that sounds horrible. I've heard of people having it. What's it like? Our cousins came up to visit, and their mom was a little more understanding than my dad. But her kids were way more understanding. The youngest is 3, and she actually counts out loud. When I do things in 4s. Very annoying. And it makes me feel less hatred towards myself for being unable to stop. The second youngest is 9, and she asked about it. She didn't fully get it, but she said something like, it's not like you want to think like that. And doing things repeatedly makes it go away. If it makes you feel better, then do it. One of her sisters got water on my arm after having been in the pond and I freaked out. And she poured a bottle of clean water down my arm and asked if I was okay. Later she rested her elbow on my shoulder, having dried off, and immediately removed it. Then asked if it was okay to do that. That all probably sounded like a jumbled mess. My point is, I appreciate kids that understand that kind of thing. Or even if they don't understand, if they just let you hear you and not comment on it. Even better, I appreciate when they try to help you regardless of their understanding. Edit. I wasn't expecting this to get as many upvotes as it has, nor expecting people to share their own struggles with mentality. I'm extremely proud of all of you who continue to persevere through life with these added struggles. You'll are strong, and I admire you immensely. That you are tired of everything and want to have less pressure from them. Also that raising your voice a little bit when you are upset is disrespect. I'm an adult, but the one that has always got me is school. Every adult I know will listen to a kid complain about school and then tell them how good they have it. F that. You couldn't pay me to go back to high school, let alone middle school. I get paid to wake up every morning and go work now. Plus I get paid if I'm sick or just want to take a vacation day and not go in. High school is stressful as duck, especially on a period system where you have to cram 7 different lessons in your brain every day. Sometimes study for 7 different tests, and then add an ACT/SAT prep on top of that. Then you have to also be social, tie in some extracurriculars or community service to beef up the college application, and still try to squeeze in some time for friends/significant other or hobbies. I wouldn't go back to high school for all the money in the world. Yes, video games are important because they're a source of amusement and happiness, as well as developing your hand-eye coordination and critical thinking skills. Just an argument for the parents, which would probably get you yelled at for using. Sorry for the ammunition. Respect is earned, not given. Keep it a secret. Apostrophe. Exams are hard, as well as putting pressure on ourselves. We have teachers telling us we should be getting grades that are better than we could ever get. Our parents making revise each subject for an hour a day isn't going to stop the stress. Some of my teachers knew this. In my last year in school, my English teacher would give us Fridays off to just chill and take the piss. He even played blackjack with some of us before. My engineering teacher would play old rock during classes, let us eat and go to the shop to get food. Those two were sound. Our vice principal was also chill enough to play basketball with us and the priest. The priest used to play at a national level and was a legend. Those teachers deserve respect. Don't believe everything you read online. Kids are more aware of this, and adults believe whatever fake news they see. You'd think it'd be the other way round. But no. You can't pause an online game, and being compared to other kids hurts. Edit. Holy crap, 'tis a my DK what I deserve to get 1k upvotes, but thank you. Just because I'm having a bad day doesn't mean that I'm being rude and disrespectful. And just because you lost your keys doesn't mean we are demon children. I'm not a teen, but I still think explaining mental illness to adults is a big problem for many people. That when I have a valid argument it isn't disrespecting you, it trying to make you understand there is another valid point of view. Agreed. I can't even talk to my dad about anything remotely political because he will scream and after be all salty and keep trying to start fights which I don't entertain. It's ridiculous how close-minded some older people are. Leave me alone. We are under a lot of stress and pressure and sometimes we need to vent. When I'm feeling sick, I'm sick. Every time when I'm sick my parents tell me things like, why are you a not a child? Reddit memes. I don't wanna do this anymore. And sometimes that just means that you're emotionally overwhelmed and not necessarily suicidal. That when you're overwhelmed it's difficult to put all of your feelings into words, and for teenagers that's especially difficult anyway. Not that adults are all that much better at it, I've found. Sometimes the most important questions an adult can ask are what do you think about it, and what do you really want/need, and what can we do about it? Then really listen and take your teen's thoughts, wants, and needs all into account. Easier said than done. You thinking you're joking is you actually being an asshole, and you making fun of my body makes me care about it less so it'll never get better. My mom keeps telling me that I'm so skinny that I look like a skeleton. It is not often and often said as a joke, but she started at such a young age that it got imprinted in my brain and I can't get it out. One day, I know I couldn't handle it anymore and told her it isn't my decision to be skinny. You see how much I actually eat. It just doesn't turn into a little fat. It is true that I told her this in a period when I didn't eat too much because of stress and because I got a sprained ankle, which made me stay in bed all day, and no physical activity results in less food needed by the body. After I finished saying all these she said, no, it is your decision not to eat. Your mom's an ass. I'm sorry buddy. Bisexuality. Younger cousins couldn't care less, whereas parents took 3 to 5 business days to process that it's possible to be attracted to more than one gender. Edit. Extends to all LGBT+. I just want to be equal to you. Yes, you deserve respect, but so do I. I just wanna be able to have a conversation and be heard. When you tell me to do something I just want you to hear me out. When I have a problem with it, you would never treat a friend this way, so why do you get to treat me like this? I recently turned 21, so I guess I'm technically not a teenager anymore. But while my parents didn't do this too badly, I hate being told to man up because I'm a guy who sometimes wants to cry, have emotions, and I'm not into sports or stuff like that. Like come on. Guys can act all like stereotypically feminine things and the other way around with girls. Being stressed, overworked and tired. No dad, Steam is not a scam. You can literally but Steam gift cards at the grocery store and there are millions of users. What if they're lying about the users to him? Everything online that isn't Facebook is a scam. It's all gonna be okay. Adults get too worked up and think too hard sometimes. Children have insanely good moral compasses and are very sincere when you look them in the eye. Threatening your child with X will not make them happy or listen to what you're saying. Seriously, don't threaten you kids. And I mean this with serious threats like kicking them out. I'm scared. I don't know why. I just am. Please stop yelling at me. That it's okay not to remember people in your past if they don't mean anything to you. Some people really expect me to keep their names and faces in mind when they only come over to talk to my grandma. To add to that, my mum moved out of my grandma's house when I was 3, so how the duck am I supposed to remember them? That's strippers, black people, Mexicans, anyone who isn't white, LGBTQ+, non-religious people, people who have a different religion, ex-criminals who have converted to being good law-abiding citizens, the homeless, the disabled, including mental, and people who have different political opinions than you are all still people, and you should automatically treat them like people. That means with respect, care, humbleness, and imagining what it's like to be in their shoes. That just because I play video games or watch anime doesn't mean I'm still a little ducking child, or that I'm not growing up. I wish parents, mine at least, actually tried playing video games or watching a good ass anime. That really makes you feel something. I have played video games and watched anime that are miles better than any movie I've seen or any book I've read. Some games have such amazing storytelling, it's pretty much an interactive book. I mean, I get it. You grew up at a time when video games were pretty much non-existent, and you hear the word game and just instantly think, oh, it's for children, but come on. At least give it a try. I find it so frustrating that my dad gets angry if I don't want to see a movie with him, yet never even asks me what the game I'm playing is about. Internet's not that bad. It's good to take a break every now and then, but having a group chat or a social media to look at every time can help with moods and social starving. Treat people how you want to be treated. This works with children. Usually. Not so much with adults, it seems. Hey, thanks for watching, and don't forget to subscribe.